Hello, Peter Ward here. You may have seen John Bytheway's post about a particular race circuit that he did where a section of road was traversed 3 times because of the loops, and there were some problems with the elevation rendering in Magic Roads. I've taken the liberty here of recreating something approximate to that loop very quickly in Komoot to show you how we could handle that differently in GPX Magic using the graph system. And let me just move on to making this route into a graph. So using the graph theory tab, I just convert to graph. That is looking for sections of road that are reused. It does that quite crudely just by walking around the track looking at the track points. It's not very clever, but it usually manages to detect the start and the end and the junctions, and sometimes a few points where you'd perhaps not really want to have a junction or a point of interest on the graph. So where you see a red circle at junctions, that's great. And where you see a red circle somewhere in the middle of the road, that's usually because of where I've clicked during the route creation is not quite on the route, and the only thing we can do with those is to delete them. So we toggle ourselves in and out of graph mode until we can create a graph where that does not appear as a red circle. That can take a little while because the point may be on the first traversal or the second traversal, so it takes a little bit of experimentation to find the problem, and eventually we find that it's gone, and that's fine. So we'll just work our way around the track looking for any more of those. Let's go around the rest of the track very quickly. Here's another one. In fact, there's 2 points there, but again, same solution is just to delete any erroneous points in the neighborhood and keep trying until we get a clean graph. Here again, we find that one of those points is on a different traversal of the loop, so we have to try again to spot the anomaly, delete it, and then finally we get a nice clean graph. And it is worth doing because it simplifies any smoothing operations we do on the track later. And then we're back onto the start finish section, or at least that town center loop, which go around the big loop again. So I'll just skip over that, come back into the town and go out towards the finish. I'm not going to worry about the start and the end. The reason we're doing this is because of elevation anomalies. Each traversal of the loop can give you different elevation, although Komoot appears to be not as bad. The graph forces it to use a single consistent set of track points each time it goes around that section. You sometimes find that creates some problems on neighbouring sections. Here I'm just going to use the nudge tool to bring that point back into line. And let's just have a look at what we've done. If we go back into the graph, there's some more details of how that loop is used. If I click on a section, you'll see the arrows that show me traversing that section, and you'll notice highlighted in green on the right that there are 3 traversals of the town centre loop and 2 traversals of the outer loop. When I finished with that, I can start smoothing. Now, most of the smoothing tools still work, but they only apply to one section of the road. That is extremely important. Here I can use Bezier approximation to smooth that large loop. Again, that will apply to both traversals of the loop. If I try and use tools to smooth across multiple sections, it probably will not work. It will let you do it, but you will get anomalous results like that. So try and avoid this, please. So if you click and avoid the junctions, avoid the red nodes, drop a marker, move forward along the section until you get to the next marker, and then what I usually do is go back one so that I'm not actually working on the markers, because obviously markers play a role in many sections, and they're quite important to leave them where they are. Bezier approximation, by the way, is my go-to for a quick fix, but I could, for instance, use the classic bend smoother tool to get a better result on this particular bend, and again that will apply to each of the 3 times that I transit that piece of road. When we're finished, we leave graph mode, we convert back to a normal linear route, and we're done. The only other point worth mentioning is that given this is a French route, you might want to try a right hand offset, and that will separate the outward and the inward sections near the start and the finish. That might be worth doing. It will keep the elevations the same and just give you a lateral separation of the lanes. Excuse me. I hope that's useful to you. Good luck.